G'day everyone, something a bit different for this video, kind of informal. I've been playing around with this group of pedals over the last couple of nights, and I've got some pretty, well, I reckon pretty nice sort of swell sounds out of it. And it's a complicated swell sound, of course, because there's so much going on. I quite like it. It's not very. It's quite deep. There's a lot of stuff going on, and you'll see what I mean. I'll show you what all the effects on sound like, except for the overdrive first, and then I'll break it down into sections so you can hear what each of these effects adds to the final sound and how it affects it. So first, I'll just set it back up again, and I'll show you the complicated swirl. And then yeah, I'll go through and show you adding each effect. I'm not going to mic this up, it's just going to be a informal sort of video, I guess you could call it. So it almost sounds like a shimmer reverb, in my opinion. It's got that modulation that kind of sits above the underlying delay signal, and these two really are the star of the show, the prismatic reverb and the timeline. This stuff also helps, the phaser helps to make it sound a little bit deeper. Same with the chorus, helps it to make it sound a bit more open. And this is another delay, a short delay, and it also helps just to make the delay time a bit longer as well, so that it fades out a bit longer and creates a bit more of a smoother swell. And they all do their bit. Unfortunately, this is a PT2399 delay, so it's got a bit of that kind of distortion or noise to it. I definitely would replace that with something else. If you're going to record this sort of setup, you definitely want to replace that. So let's have a look at well, the first one, and the one that's doing most of the work, being the timeline. What it sounds like just on its own. So it still sounds quite respectable, but you've lost a lot of the depth that I had before. That shimmer sound is gone, and also it's quite abruptly cuts off even on the maximum maximum delay time, it's still not as smooth as it was before. That's where the second delay comes into it. So next we're going to add this reverb and see how that actually affects the sound as well. So I've got this set to, let's just hear the reverb on its own first before we put it into the delay. Helps if you turn it on. Sorry, it's quite loud. I hope that's not distorting the camera. So the reverb time is quite long, as you can hear it. It sort of fades out, and I think it's responsible for the shimmer type sound that I was saying before. So let's combine them together and see what they sound like. So it's made it sound a bit longer as well, and you can hear that the shimmer is definitely starting to appear in the sort of like a top layer over the top of your guitar signal. So it's definitely got a bit more depth to it. Sounds a bit more interesting, I think, with the reverb added. So next I'll add the phaser, and I mean, personally, I would have thought a phaser doesn't really belong with a swell, but I want to show you the difference with it on and with it off. You'll see that there's quite a significant difference. It adds a lot of character to the swell, a lot more. It makes it sound a bit more interesting. So again, we'll just hear what the phaser is set to at the moment. So this is actually on the dry setting. If you put it on the wet setting, you'll get a hell of a lot more phasing. I think it doubles the stages when it's on the wet setting. So you can hear that you get a lot more of your guitar signal come through in the dry setting, as the setting would imply. And it's quite a long setting as well. I mean, this thing has a huge range. If we go back up the other end, and that still might sound quite good. I might just mess around with that when we do these three together, and I'll also show you what it sounds like when you put the wet signal on as well. Yeah, I'll start with it on the longest setting. If you go past that, it starts to get a bit ridiculous. You know, I'm not convinced that would sound very good, but I'll try it when we put these two on with it, which we'll do now. So let's switch these on and see what it sounds like. I'll leave it on that setting that I had it on, and we'll see that one first. Creates kind of a bit of a pulsing sound. Doesn't sound too bad. You might have an application where that would actually sound quite good in a song or as a background effect, but it's quite a distinct sound and very dominant sounding as well. So let's just chill that out a bit and send it back, and I'll just show you what that sounds like now. That's more of a suitable setting for this sort of swell. So we'll hear that first, and then I'll turn the time right, the rate right down, and I'll show you what it sounds like on a wet setting as well. Whoops, try that again. So it's definitely starting to sound like we had it before. There's more character appearing in the sound, and I'll just put that back up to full and show you. Probably not going to really tell much difference because from here all the way around to there actually isn't a huge amount of time added, or the time up here is just so long that it's difficult to actually hear the phaser pitch shifting. So yeah, we'll try it on the full setting anyway. Whoops. So that sounds pretty good. We're going to lose a bit of volume when I put it on wet because, like I said before, your guitar signal gets a little bit throttled. So I'm just going to turn the volume up on the reverb a bit just to compensate for that. So I get a bit more volume out of the reverb when it goes through the reverb. So it's kind of harder to hear what's going on when you've got the phase in the wet setting. But I was just sort of thinking then as I was playing it, if you actually had something to compensate for the volume a bit better than just turning up the reverb, I reckon that could actually sound quite good. It sucks the guitar signal out, but then it gives you that sort of, sounds a bit more ethereal. It's got a bit more of an ethereal, cosmic, or whatever you want to call it, sort of sound to it.